Welcome to the podcast It Works on My Machine, hosted by me, Karolina, and powered by TimeCamp. The show gathers many insightful business stories from people working in the software development industry. We are talking specifically about the outsourcing here. So if you ever wondered what exactly keeps the software development business that outsources services at the top, well, our guests are here to lay it all out for you. In today's episode, I'm speaking with Marta Klepka. Marta is the head of marketing and growth at 10Clouds, and it's truly fair to say that 10Clouds is one of the global leading blockchain and FinTech software development companies. She will tell us some facts about 10Clouds itself. We'll talk about some processes their organization that are going on inside their organization. We'll also talk about some projects that 10Clouds is dealing with and some other interesting things. So let's get into this now and take a look on how it works on 10Clouds machine. So 10Clouds, what 10Clouds is about, what makes it different from the other IT development, software development companies out there, especially in the FinTech industry.
Okay, so hello everybody. Hello, it's great to be here with you. So my name is Marta Klepka. I work in 10Clouds as a head of growth. 10Clouds is actually a premium IT consultancy company when we are serving mostly highly funded startups, scale-ups and enterprises. And with help of our clients, we actually try to help them build products with the best market fit. And we really care about their products to solve the real problems of the users, which we often discover actually and research on behalf of them. So I think what makes us unique is that we are pretty well rooted on the market. We are 12 years on the market already. We are serving mostly clients from the US and Western Europe. We have a great culture match there. And we actually, I think, mostly what is differentiating us is our culture. We actually know how to hire developers and make them happy. I even wanted to make a marketing campaign out of that. In our company, I think effectiveness goes hand in hand with humanism, and this is something that our clients appreciate because they see that we work as a team. People are cooperating with each other, and it makes our work very effective. I think we are very much, we are obviously client centric, but I think most of all we are product centric. So in reality, our clients stay with us and work with us for years. And I think it's because we are very sometimes bold and open to ask hard questions, challenge the product concepts, pivot, change the solutions that are on the market, but they are not bringing enough revenue for the clients, or we believe they don't have unique selling points. We are a very agile company, like obviously every software house can say that, almost everyone. But I think what is unique is that we actually follow this agile manifest of Scrum, Kanban, different methodologies. We are very lean here at the same time. And we are focused on the product, not the process. So if we see that one type of a process doesn't suit our client, then we basically change it. Last but not least, I think we work in very quick iterations. So we even start from very in-depth discovery for the client. On this very first stage, he or she or the whole team actually can get to know a lot about their unique position on the market, how to build it, get feedback from the users. So we basically are able to build a digital product MVP within 40 days. As we establish that process. And last but not least, we are working in services business, obviously. So it's all based on relationships, and we tend to build long-standing relationships. 90% of our clients are very happy with our service. It's being proven by the reviews on B2B websites such as Clutch, where we are every year we're getting new awards. This year, for example, we were named for the most reviewed global blockchain company in the world. So basically, these are the things that we make us unique.
You actually told us already from the very beginning so many like insightful details, insightful facts that the 10 Clouds is hiding behind the curtain, of the brands that is showing out there to the public, which is very. I really appreciate that all these details from you. But let's come back to the moment when you said that you are mostly focused on the problem solving, overcoming these challenges for your clients. Can you give us an example of what are some of these problems that you are solving for any companies that are, coming to you for your help?
Of course. So we have some exceptional case studies, definitely, that I could talk about. And I think I'm not going to focus on the ones that are the most crazy or something like that. But I think, again, long-lasting relationships and problem solving. So we have companies that are coming, they are highly funded startups. So they basically need quick market presence, quick, very, very good market fit with the products. Basically, they need to iterate fast. Sometimes they need to pivot because the market is changing. Often they also even though they are not aware of that, they actually very much are in need of more in-depth feedback from the users, and this part of user UX research and stuff like that is a very important part of our service as well. So our game changers are the long-time clients, such as, for example, TrustStamp. This is a digital verification service. We work with them for many years already, and actually we work hand in hand. The teams are working as partners. They always say that they don't feel like we are an external partner. We, for example, get some grants for research and development. The client trusts us to, test and learn different solutions in order basically to choose the ones that are actually helping this client to dominate their niche, get significant fundings, even bigger ones, and even go public. So we have cases like that. Interesting problems because we are actually for years already we are focusing and we are serving a lot of clients from DeFi industry and FinTech industry. We have a very interesting client, Emergent. We actually are working together with them on creating the token and the G coin, which is like a digital alternative to gold. So here it's an extremely interesting project based on blockchain technology as well. And in the recent year, actually, and but in the recent years, we're also privileged to work with a lot of like rising stars in DeFi and blockchain industry, such as our clients. One is actually from Poland. It's an Aleph Zero, super interesting platform. They're also working on B2B blockchain services for enterprises. Or another one is Crescent from the US, which are actually providing like a saving mobile application for the US markets. So these are one of the most interesting projects I could talk about.
Interesting. And speaking of all these case studies that you had as a company that you are still constantly dealing with, can you name any, the craziest client request that you had to deal with your teams and have to figure out what to do with them and how to make things work for their needs?
Mm-hmm. Okay. I mean, if you're working with DeFi industry, there is a lot of crazy requests coming to you because this is the market that is, and fintechs. There's a lot of innovative solutions basically, and people are, innovating in many areas. I think actually one of the craziest things, which is like, which really required a lot of patience from our team and a lot of consistency and like a lot of trust between the clients. Was working with the Crescent, the client which I mentioned, that actually we're working with them for a few years because they wanted to get finance round. In the US, they were actually looking for finance on a lot of markets. So we created an MVP of a digital saving product for them, like a mobile app. But it had a lot of different functionalities. And, at the time, within a few years, we invested like a lot of time also in that project. But we actually, together with client, we were pivoting this very heavily. And it's required, and we also even rebranded the product which we and the brand which we created ourselves. So it was super interesting and very crazy actually project because throughout the years we created something and then ourselves we had to change it together with client and adjust it even better to the market needs.
It's really cool to hear that you were both benefiting basically from the same project, even though you were on the completely opposite sides, on
Exactly.
the implementation
Yes.
of it. So
yes, we learn a lot with this client. This is fantastic, right? And we actually also very much build up, for example, an interesting product, let's say service line, which is actually branding from our design team, which is like very well known worldwide already. But this branding is like really super unique, and the designers were very excited to have this possibility to create such a thorough, experience together with the client.
You mentioned this fast-changing, fast-changing mode of the blockchain industry itself. But from my observing point of view, I can say that with the true nature of the cryptocurrency and the blockchain space becoming, less murky and much well-defined, it becomes better defined in a way that not only companies from the finance sector or like companies who are specialized in crypto do know what it is about. People around have a really normal approach to it. They on today's in today's life we have people who are just saying that okay, it's like a really normal thing to have. Cryptocurrency wallet is a really normal thing to have. Why not? Cryptocurrency trade is also a really normal action to do. As far as I know, you joined not that far ago, like a year or 2 years ago. And at that time, cryptocurrency was already a big thing. So it was not like 10 years ago, right, when it's just invented. But how did your company, 10Clouds, has changed since the moment you joined in terms, in this blockchain technology environment?
So I think our case is like pretty unique actually, because as far as I have learned, because I didn't experience that, already 12 years when the company was created, at the very beginning, we worked with DeFi and blockchain industry. Obviously more FinTech because it wasn't so, let's say, mainstream there, but still there were already elements of crypto products and services, based on blockchain technology, which we offered. So we kind of like build up on that, and we realized that this is something that we want to like specialize in our, like strategy. We really want to focus on DeFi and FinTech industries in the coming years. Obviously, we have clients coming from other industries as well, especially, for example, medtech and edutech. So I joined actually not even a year ago, and I think I'm just one of the people that are basically now facilitating this growth. So what we do, let's say, if I look back for, let's say, for this year period, so we are now trying to build up on the already existing projects which we have. We already built up our expertise. We are now building up very much the blockchain team. We are also building up the knowledge of actually DeFi industry and blockchain technology within the whole company. So we have, for example, like very big project coming up in which we call DeFi Academy for whole 10 clouds. We want to educate, all the new joiners and like basically everyone on the basics of, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and the technology. And definitely we see that it goes mainstream. We see that, for example, we launched a few months ago, we started to launch NFT marketing campaigns on the US market, Canada and other markets. And we have seen there is a lot of demand coming towards such projects. So we also like see a potential for us to really build up within this niche, which is probably like in the long term, we believe it's not going to be a niche anymore. And we are like super excited because we know that we are in the right time, in the right place now, right now.
Speaking of the demands and trends that are, there is DeFi industry bringing to us, how it's affecting your organization from the inside. So maybe the team structure is changing. Together with these trends that are coming constantly your way. Maybe there are some changes in the processes that you are, having to deal with on a daily basis. How it's affecting your organization from the inner side.
So as I mentioned, we are definitely building up the blockchain team because we see there's more and more requests coming from that side to serve different industries. The IT solutions which are based on this technology. So this is definitely one of the directions, and we don't want to be only, for example, blockchain focused, like technology focused, a software house. We want to serve both different industry in terms of blockchain solutions, but also be able to really well serve different DeFi, decentralized finance clients. Also, as I mentioned about the NFTs, so basically, for example, when we see, of course, the incoming requests of the same type, then we try to build up service lines behind it. And then, of course, like market it, build up awareness of those services. So this is all.
How would you describe your management? How it's also changing, maybe with an influence of all of these demands and trends around, how it looks like right now, the management system in your organization?
Well, the marketing team is definitely one of the teams that is now generating, as they're laughing at me, most of the like a lot of the costs, because we are, and it's not only because of the campaigns, but it's because of the people, and we want to grow it. Actually, this year we want to double the marketing team. So we started obviously from the basics when I joined last, actually I think May. With a core team, obviously as a service provider, and in B2B, we focus a lot of our expert knowledge. So we focus a lot about on building up a strong content team. So this was one of the basics that we actually we have content people that are working with our experts, all of like from different departments, working on webinars, interviews, articles, everything that basically is helping our clients to make well-informed decisions in terms of IT. We are focusing mostly on the C-level personas in our clients' companies to target our communication. And obviously, I think it's very interesting. And besides, of course, the analytics part and performance people, organic, making sure that we have very well built and established presence in Google in terms of paid ads, but most of all that we are actually able to continue growing in an organic sphere in terms of our organic traffic on our website. This was super important, improving the data quality, so we can actually make well-informed also decisions in terms of which channels to choose for our marketing purposes. So besides the content, besides, let's say, this demand generation team, again, social media, especially LinkedIn, is the place for us to be. So we also have resources here. And actually, I think this is really interesting setup because in software houses, the marketing teams, our team is called Growth Team, and I'm a head of growth because like I really feel that we actually support both supply and demand. So when we get new clients on board, a new business, together with obviously sales team, because we wouldn't be here, without them. We are working hand in hand. This is super cool cooperation. So besides that, we also actually working on our employer branding because obviously when we get projects, we need to have people that will work on them. So it's really exciting for me to work at the same time, on both sides, and be also partly responsible, obviously because we have also people team on actually, bringing new candidates to the company, building our employer branding. And then in terms of like the whole company, so like in software house like ours, majority of the employees are obviously on the delivery side. So those are, as we call them, billable employees. So basically they're working on clients' projects. So our two founders, Maciej and Michał, actually one of them is a CEO of the company and another one is a head of delivery. So something like a chief technology officer, let's say. And they are actually leading, and he's leading the whole delivery team where we have, developers, a maintenance team, design. Very important for us, a product delivery management team that is actually, like a bridge between us and the client. And of course, all other non-delivery teams, which we are also scaling right now, especially a super important one for us is the people team. So HR and the recruiters, they are doing the sourcing. So they're actively, finding and approaching the best candidates on the market.
From one thing that you mentioned about the work that you do inside your software house and marketing team was the importance of presence on social media. What would you say are the best practices that should be, or I don't know, that may be considered as the best practices for software houses in terms of marketing? What are some other, key points that you think will help software house grow?
So I think super important is basically to have this very well thought through the whole client funnel and make sure that there are no leaks on the way. So basically from, let's say, marketing qualified leads to sales qualified leads, and that whenever the client is in touch with you, that potential client, of course, you don't lose him or her on the way, and you try to build this experience depending on the level on which he or she is. So, for example, whether he already has the awareness and the need that he wants to work with a software house, and, for example, is looking for software house services on B2B review sites. So you should be there, right? But there are other companies that, for example, they have their own digital products already, and they are not even aware they could do a better work. They could, scale it up quicker. They should do some pivot. They could actually manage their projects better in more agile technologies. That's something that we work actually a lot on in the traditional FinTech industry. We help, for example, banks. We actually are a big eye opener in terms of even showing them the possibility that, within a few days, on very intensive workshops with them, we can actually help them to, create the idea of the product and even test it on a small group of users. So this is the pace they are not used to. I don't want to say too much because this is a super competitive market in terms of software houses. So I wouldn't like to reveal all our secrets, what really works the most. But I think I would like to be fair. I think that for sure you need to invest in all the, so we are focusing a lot on of course on digital marketing. We are focusing on the traditional as well here in a way, if you can say, channels like B2B review sites, presence in Google, and of course social media, building community. But also like there has to be a lot of test and learn. So like we have the green light to really test and learn different channels, different, I don't know, publishers, different social media channels, in terms of all like organic presence just to communicate there, or paid campaigns. And I think without it we cannot be really innovative. And what I really notice is nowadays that I think that the B2B companies, they really have to reinvent themselves in terms of marketing, because like the traditional, gated content, and this like really very strict lead funnel approach that you will first get, you will send them a report, and then you will invite them to read an article, and then they will become a client. This is not working anymore. I think we need to, and this is something that we are actually working on nowadays as well, to make sure that we have, we are top of mind for our clients, and we actually we are heavily focused on building awareness and our branding as well.
The human to human philosophy works everywhere. We shouldn't forget about this, since we are all living in Homo sapiens world and nothing has
Exactly.
changed, since the beginning of this era. Speaking of a little bit different topic, besides the details that you uncovered here that are going on, inside your organization, I would like to also talk about the participation in charity projects. I've noticed that 10Clouds is participating in this movement called the Tech to the Rescue. Can you tell us a few words about this, about your participation, about your role in this? What was your intention? Why did you decide to join? And because people needs people, and we live in this world where, as I said, human, with the human to human approach, and with an access to the resource that lots of tech companies have. We can help more, but some companies just, even when they do want to help, they just don't know where to start or how to join any, kind of situation where there are people in need. So let's start from the tech to the rescue, and then move on to maybe a message to other tech companies on how they can be helpful outside of the business, but just for the other people who need it.
Exactly as you mentioned, we are, and this is the standpoint of also of our founders, and this is why we are actually a founding member of Tech to the Rescue. So we are one of the software houses that established the whole organization when during the COVID outburst. So this came out of the pure need to help and to basically actually use what we do best, building up digital products for free for NGOs. Actually, in the time when no one knew what's going to happen, how to basically live in this different world which we faced. And now, during the war which we are actually witnessing is the same situation. So like we are now the Tech to the Rescue, we are actually supporting Tech for Ukraine movement and campaign, where we actively, with obviously a lot of other members, because like there were a few founding members back in the days when the organization was established, like 1.5 years ago. But nowadays there are, I believe, like only in this Tech for Ukraine initiative, there are a couple of dozen companies participating from all over the world. Actually, this is amazing that this was like a catalyzer, to basically scale the organization. It's fantastic to be part of it. We actually last year launched and we actually worked with Altruisto. This is an NGO to which we helped to build up their digital product. I'm not going to go into the details now, but basically, this is the whole idea that every year or a few times in a year, whenever the IT companies have either free resources or they just want to, donate their resources to NGOs, they can actually be matched with organizations like Tech to the Rescue. With valid, well-researched NGOs, and really support some causes that are important for them, for their employees, first of all, because I think this is super important to say also that this is something what our employees expect from us as well, right? That because we are so privileged, and because also the job market in IT is super demanding, that basically nowadays, being active in CSR as an IT company, it actually be a way to differentiate yourself from others. And it actually helps people to make a decision why they should work for you, because they want to be engaged in such projects. Those are one of the most exciting projects for the team. And so the message is basically, I think, you can be part of the movements like Tech to the Rescue. There is a place for a lot of companies there. There is a matchmaking process. You can either donate your resources to to NGOs, be matched with them, or you can also invest more and be a member that actually, also shows the direction in which this organization should go. And we actually came out of the, let's say, software houses bubble. We have now different tech companies, Marta, and other technologies, service providers and product providers also joining the movement. And if you don't want to be a part of like a big organization like that, you can also do projects like that yourself. I think it's just it's easy just to ask out the employees whether they know any organizations that are actually seeking for help, and basically then to help them to build their apps, their websites. This is what we can do to basically make this change.
I'm sure there's information in details regarding the steps that each company that hasn't took any, of this role can take now, especially in these times, as you mentioned, living next to the country where the war is happening. And unfortunately, there are so many victims of this war. And the one who can help definitely should do this, no matter how the small step makes a very big impact on the problem and on the issue that the world is facing right now. Okay, so almost last thing that I would also like to find out from you is maybe you have some predictions regarding the shift towards the Web 3.0, how it's going to impact all of your incoming projects, maybe your workflow, coming back to the organizational, structure and the processes inside, how it will impact your organization from the inside, and just software development, and this financial industry, technological industry in general. What do you think?
I'm not sure if I'm in the place of making predictions, maybe for Web3 and its development. But what we are witnessing definitely is that this is an evolution which takes place. It's not a revolution. So it's of course, like the pace now is much quicker. And as we all know, like the big tech is moving there. So all the Facebooks and Twitters of the world actually. They discovered that's the place to go, but also like the FinTech industry. So you see that you have, providers of payment services, credit cards that are basically investing there. you have a lot of also other industries, for example, even the brands which want to be present in metaverse, right? So this is definitely that is impacting our business in a way that we want to specialize there. So we are actually, have to build up the expertise, we have to build up the teams, across the whole company to understand like how this market is changing, what we can expect in terms of the projects, like project sizes, the roadmaps, how to communicate with those clients. It basically requires a lot of focus, a lot of efforts for the whole company, because even though it's in an obviously totally different stage as it was a year ago, because this change actually there was this huge let's say growth within a change, especially in DeFi industry, which we want to focus on, and basically those attempts to replicate like existing financial services, in terms of like saving, lending, trading, and stuff like that. So we definitely see that this is scaling a lot, and we want to be serving those projects.
From all of these things you listed, what is something you are the most excited about at 10Clouds?
We are not excited about one thing. We are excited about like the whole change, and that we are in the right place at the right time. Of course, there are people that are more excited about NFT projects because they are, for example, we have people in the company that are creating NFTs themselves, or the design team is excited about it. Others are more excited about the technology part because of the nature of their work. But I think, like in general, we are the most excited about the fact that the DeFi industry has changed so much and has like skyrocketed within last year, and actually about its benefits, and about the fact that it's also we came to the level when we don't have to justify actually using this kind of technology, like blockchain, to our clients, but also we are excited that DeFi players are actually coming to us with very different needs, and like starting from building up their presence online, building up their products, working on blockchain technology solutions. So we are like providing this 360 consultancy services for this industry, and I think this is the most exciting. That we feel that we are building up our knowledge, and we can now. Basically harness also the results of this a few years of work in the past, where we actually build up already some recognition in this industry and some interesting cases of our clients, which we can now show to the market and present in an ongoing way.
That's really cool, but no one knows, how it's going to look like exactly in a year. But from the company like yours, 10Clouds, it's really interesting to hear. How do you approach this?
No,
change?
definitely. If maybe I can add, because like right now, even like during the crisis time, we are like looking at different scenarios. Obviously, like probably a lot of companies are working on our crisis scenarios and stuff like that. But we are very positive in terms of the positive sentiment still towards crypto and DeFi industry. Like long term, that even though there is some negative sentiment, because it always was, like probably to any industry, but like we believe that in a long term, this is the change which cannot be regulated too much, cannot be stopped anymore. It's basically it went too far, because it got to the mass scale, and as you mentioned, amidst your peers, probably it's very normal that actually people have a digital wallet, right? And they use cryptocurrencies. They follow some trends. So this is super exciting to see that.
And I have one last thing to ask you to close this episode up. Marta, what is your main source of energy that helps you to keep yourself sane on daily life, working, in this fast changing environment and dealing with such innovative projects on daily basis? What is your main source of energy that just keeps you, keeps you grounded and sane?
I think I'm this type of person that has to be totally has to work in a very changing, fast-paced in the industry because otherwise I will be totally bored. So this is something that it kind of comes natural, but of course I am overwhelmed a lot. Because, for example, because we are remote first company and often we work remotely. Although we of course have our offices as well. So I have two kids, so this is something that makes me sometimes sane, sometimes insane. But I think that one of the daily routines is just spend some time with them after work. Read books together, talk about life, talk about their life, talk about my life, and spend some time, hugging and being close and just like wind off every day. And also like I take care about the my mental well-being as well. So I like to read a good book, do some yoga, meditate even sometimes, but like just generally I think not even to just to be aware of how I feel and like to be good for myself. And when I feel like I'm really tired or angry or stressed, just to give myself some space or just some excuse to even watch my favorite Netflix series or something like that.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Marta, for joining us today. I really enjoyed this conversation, and I hope that the people out there who were watching us or listening to us enjoyed this conversation as well.
Thanks a lot for having me. We're super happy to be the first one in this series. So I can only tell you that I will be surely following the other episodes to get to know more